back. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I don't know what's going on outside, but it's quite noisy and I can't see through the loft window. So I will talk very loudly and hopefully that will finish quite soon. Yesterday, roofers next door. It's just So let's get into our workout. So if you wish to use dumbbells or some cans of beans or a band for this next exercise, you can do by all means. I'm going to grab my little can of beans. Just remember, if you're using cans, make sure they're the same weight. If you're using water bottles, they need to be the same weight. So let's take our legs nice and wide. Once they're nice and wide, turn the feet out to the corners of the room. So we're turning them out by 30 degrees. We're going to tuck the tailbone under, and again we've still got that pelvic elevator, that lift in place, the abdominal belt in place. We're going to plie squat with a lateral raise, okay? So shoulder blades back and down, beefy tomato under the chin. Let's inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So we're pushing down, knees are pushing backwards, so we want to make sure that they're not dropping forward. Inhale, exhale. Those arms are coming no higher than shoulder height, being conscious that you've not got floppy wrist syndrome or cocky wrist, remember. So floppy wrist is where the wrist is dropping down, cocky wrist is where you're rolling the wrists up. What we want is the wrists and forearms to be in alignment. So let's have 4 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And last one, let's stay down. Bring the arms down. Give me a little pulse with the legs. So just for 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and hold. Take a nice deep breath. As you exhale, come up slowly. Walk your feet in. Side open gate. Pop your weights down if you're using them. Bend your knees as you do so, remember. So hands on your hips, feet together. Let's bring the index fingers across, check that they meet in the middle, and then draw them back. Our shoulder blades are back and down. Bend your right leg, big toe resting on the floor, and remember your options here. We can have that foot rolling along, well I say rolling, skimming along the floor or floating through the air. I've got that tuck, my shoulder blades are back and down, nice and steady. Option 1 is to let the toes skim along the floor. Have your index finger on the hip bone. We want to make sure that we're not rotating the hip, we're not twisting out. The femur, the bone is what is moving. So nice and steady, rotate out and in. Rotate out and in. So nice and steady, breathe out, breathe in. And if you're wanting to make this more challenging, take the foot off the floor. Now remember, if you struggle with your balance, we can push our tongue to the roof of the mouth. We can place our hand on a chair to assist us in this motion. Nice and steady. We want to have nice firm roots on the opposite side. Hips are staying level, shoulders are staying level. 4 more. And with that breath, you're inhaling, you're exhaling. You're inhaling, you're exhaling. 2 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one. Inhale, exhale. Bring it down. Easy peelers, feet come together, check the hips are still level, peel the heels off the floor. Now remember, when we're working on balance, so in that exercise we're working on that opening up of that joint, but what we're also doing is we're working on the stability and balance on that supporting legs and the knee, the ankle. And balance is absolutely key. It helps us function in life, especially the older we get, so it's really good to work on your balance. So nice and steady. Now let's do the same on the opposite leg. So again, let's check our hips are level, bring that index finger across. Remember, if you know you've got one higher than the other, then really don't worry about that adjustment because you're not going to get it. So big toe on the floor or floating in the air. Let's take it out to the side and back. And you can see my body is facing forward. It is just the femur that's moving. So nice and steady. Controlled. Taking our time. And again, if we want to float, we can float. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice and steady, controlled, taking our time. Remember, as I always say in the studio, we are tortoises, not hares. Slow and controlled wins the race, or allows us to get good form, good technique, should we say, the reality of Pilates. So 3 more, out and in, out and in. Last one. And bring it back. And then take your feet hip distance apart, and this time sassy walk it out. So sassy walk it out. Remember, with that sassy walk, the hips are swinging, the pelvis is free and moving. We're not keeping it stable, we're letting it be free and loose as we go through this movement. So just letting the arms swing. Nice and steady. Come back down, bringing your feet back together again. And remember, if having your feet side by side feels uncomfortable and you need to have them a little bit of space in between, that's also fine anatomically. Okay, so hands on the hips, bring those index fingers across, check their level. We're going to go for a front leg extension here. Shoulder blades are back and down in those back pockets and our eyes are looking forward. What I'd like you to do is bend that right knee for me. This time again, we can have the option where we slide it out and we extend it and it stays on the floor, or we can lift it out. So let me show you first. So your first option is you can just slide, point. As you point the toe on the floor, contract the whole of the thigh area, okay? So you're gonna feel that muscle working, and then draw it back in and place it down. We're alternating legs here as we go. Now, that is option 1. If you want to go a little bit harder, both options are hard, then we lift, extend and point, and it's off the floor, and then we're bringing it back down. We're aiming to keep the hips level the whole way through. So let's have a go at that, starting with the right leg. So remember, we can slide, contraction, breathing out as we bring it back. We go on to the opposite leg, contraction, bringing it back if we want to make it harder. So we're taking our time. As we go through that movement, we're aiming to have that contraction in the thighs, we extend in front, keeping the hips level, keeping the shoulders level. Remember, it's always good if you can have a mirror present or have a reflection in the window that you can be seeing your form. That's fantastic, because it really does make a difference when we can see ourselves. I know in the studio sometimes we complain about the mirrors, but it does make a difference being able to see yourself. Now this time, let's take that right leg out. Let's take the extension out and let's hold it there. So we've got the point in the toes, we've got the contraction in the thigh, and we're just focusing on our balance. Now, can we challenge our balance a little bit more? Take our arms out to the side, palms facing forward, just hold it there. Can we challenge our balance a little bit more by just adding a little pat? Just patting forward, just a small movement, not a big range. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Bring that leg down. Let's do the same with the opposite side. Take it out. Contraction. Hips level. Nice and steady. Holding it there. Breathing deep. And again, hands come out. Challenge the balance a little bit more. You don't have to do this with the hands, by the way. So as if you're just shimmying someone along. Come along now. So nice and steady, core stable. Remember that pelvic lift, that elevator, the first, second and third floor. We've arrived at the third, it's all engaged. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Sassy walk. Let's swing it out. Excuse me. Nice and steady. Sorry, bless me. Nice and steady. So we're going to come down onto the floor now. We're going to do some tucks and then we're going to continue to work on the legs a little bit more. So I want you to come to the end of your mat, feet hip distance apart, inhale up, exhale into that monkey squat, bend your knees, push your bum back, then bring your hands down to the floor, coming onto all fours. Hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Shoelaces to the floor, fingers spread out. We want the wrist, the elbow and the shoulder in alignment, and we want soft elbows, so not totally bent, but just as if someone's just tickling the inside of the arm, the elbow, okay? Our tailbone is pushing to the back of the room and our shoulder blades are joined together. Our eyes and nose are looking down and we're nice and stable. So you've got that pelvic floor and abdominal connection. You're pushing your tailbone towards the back of the room, join your shoulder blades slightly together. Let's have those pelvic tucks. So we're just going to tuck the tailbone under and then lift it up, okay? So you know these relatively well. And this is just about bringing that movement into the lumbar spine, to the very lower part of the back. And we're just inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Excuse me, I'm a bit snivelly this morning. I think the hay fever's settling in, should I say? Nice and steady, controlled. Last one. And then relax. Come back. Just take your bum to your heels. Remember, you can always put a cushion underneath. Just let's roll the wrists one direction and then roll them the other direction. So nice and steady. I'm sorry for my snivelly nose. Okay, it seems to have just suddenly got all really bad. So coming over onto all fours, knees beneath the hips, elbows slightly soft. This time what you're going to do, I just need to move my beams. And just come slightly forward. So this time, what I want you to do, core is engaged, abdominals are nice and strong, those knees are nice under the hip, my tailbone is to the back of the room, my eyes and nose are looking down, my shoulder blades are joined slightly together. I want you to imagine that you are a beautiful pedigree dog, unless you want to be a Heinz 57, that's up to you. Okay, and all we're going to do is lift the leg up and down. So we lift it up and down. Now I'm just going to turn on a side view. So just doing the same leg, so just the right leg. What I want you to be conscious of as you do this lift is that you're not tipping to the side. So I don't want you to worry about how high that leg's coming. I want you to have control and keep the hips level as you go through the movement, okay? So nice and steady. We just lift and down. Lift and down. Can you see? I can see my bum's tilting, so I'm coming up too high. So what I need to do is make that lift smaller. I need to move away from the wall because my toes are hitting the wall, but nice and steady. So it doesn't have to be a big movement, just 4 more. 3, 2, 1 and hold. Just hold it there, wherever that might be. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down, come back for a moment, roll your wrists. I don't know, I've got really achy wrists today. Maybe it's just me. So nice and steady. Let's do the same opposite side. So on all fours, core engaged, fingers spread out, elbows slightly soft, knees hip distance apart, tailbone to the back of the room, shoulder blades slightly apart, joined together, sorry. Pelvic and abdominal connection. I found my lovely sycamore tree and I'm lifting up, and again, am I going too high? So make the range smaller. Doesn't have to be big to be effective. So nice and steady. breathing in as you lift up, breathing out, keep going for me, breathing out as you bring it back, keeping that softness in the elbows, that pelvic and abdominal connection. You're breathing in as you lift it up and you're exhaling as you bring it down. So nice and steady. Let's just have 3 more. Last 2 and last 1. Hold it for a moment, just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. This time, take your knees as wide as your mat, big toes together, bum comes back into shell. Remember, if this is not a comfortable posture for you, knees facing forward, shoelaces behind, we can either let our hands reach forward and stick the bum up in the air or take the bum to the heels, okay? It's really up to you. Remember, we don't want to be flopping the head down to the floor, so if you feel you're dropping the neck, make sure you pop a cushion, a block or a hard back book just underneath the forehead. Tuck in the tailbone under so you're getting a nice stretch into the lower back at the same time. So nice and steady, just holding it there, using your breath. Remember, we've got that breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, that lateral breath. Now let us take a deep breath in. Exhale one hand, then the other. Lift up. As you come up, gently, let us just take our hands into a fist. So curl the fist in, thumbs on the outside. Let your wrists rotate in a little bit, and then release. And then rotate in and release. Rotate in and release. In and release. Nice and steady, just releasing. And relax. Coming back onto all fours again. So even though we're working the legs in these all 4 positions, we're still working that core and that back, okay? So still working the core. So hands beneath the shoulders, elbows nice and a little bit soft, knees beneath the hips, core engaged, tailbone to the back room, shoulders together. This time I want you to straighten out your right leg behind you. Now that might be so it's resting on the floor, or you might have it up in the air. What I want you to be conscious of, wherever it is, whether it's on the floor or up in the air, is that your hips are level and staying level. Now I'm just going to shift along my mat a little bit because I'm just worried I might knock something. So the next thing we're going to do this time is we're going to take that leg out to the side and back. So that may be skimming along the floor and it may be floating up above. But what I want you to be conscious of is that your hips, your bum cheeks are staying level. You're not putting all your weight into one side. So I'm going to show you from a front angle as well. So what we don't want, well, what we do want, see if you find that, is we want that leg going out, oh God, without making a hole in the wall, so going out. But what we don't want is tipping over to the side, okay? So it may mean that you need to skim the leg along the floor to keep those bum cheeks level. It may mean you're just an inch off the floor. Or you may be a little bit high. Keep going for me. So nice and steady, controlled. I want you to be conscious that you're not putting all your weight into one side, and that can easily happen in this exercise, okay? So anything where we're working on one side, it's easy to put the load and the weight into the other side. So be really conscious of that. If it means you have to go back to basics and you're just skimming, then that's what we need to do. So let's have 2 more. Sorry, that noise is back again. And last one. And back. Let's do the other side. I'm going to have to rotate because I haven't got the space there. So other side, extend behind, I can skim, elbows are slightly soft, Trying, oh, I can see my bum. I'm totally feeling at this morning. I apologise. I feel like I'm tilting to one side. I'm trying not to hit the wall. You move further forward. Controlled. My eyes are looking down. I'm not looking in front. I'm not looking under. I'm holding that beefy tomato under my chin. So nice and steady. Last two. Last one. And then relax. This time come back into child's pose. So feet just behind you, bum comes down. Remember, if that's uncomfortable, you can reach your arms forward and have the bum in the air. Otherwise, we just come down like so. If you feel your head's dropping, so I can feel in this position, my head is definitely dropping, then I would take my cushion and my block to rest my head on so I don't get that crease in the back of my neck. So nice and steady, holding it there. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, gently come up, rotate the wrists in one direction and then the other, okay? Moving on to press-ups. So take your block. You may want your cushion as well. I mean, my cushion's a lot thicker than it would be in the studio, so I don't know whether it's ideal really, because it sort of like takes up too much room. But remember, with our press-ups, hands want to be either side of the mat. I know I've come off my mat, but it's just so I've got the space. So shoulder width and a half apart, or either side of your mat is your gauge. Knees are hip distance apart. And core is engaged, tailbone to the back of the room. Box press up, we're coming down like so. If I want to make it more challenging, I can take my hands further forward. I let my hips and pelvis come further forward. And sit myself back a little bit, because I want my chest over the cushion block. And I'm on the diagonal, and then I come down. If I wanted to, I could do full press-ups, but I'm not going to do that. But if you want to, you can, okay? Just remember, if you're doing full press-ups, if your legs are nice and wide, that's going to make it a little bit easier. Still going to be tough, and feet together a little bit more challenging. Just be conscious of your pelvis not dropping down. So that's the most important thing, regardless of which position you're doing your press-up, that the hips and pelvis aren't dropping, and the movement's not coming downwards from here. It wants to be controlled. This, from sort of like the chest down, is completely stable, and it's almost like you're just tipping the upper body down, but that is coming through the arms. So, nice and steady, we're just gonna do a controlled 12, yes. So 12 press-ups. So let's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 7 more. Core engaged. Last 2. But on your last one, I want you to hold it at the bottom. So we come down and we hold it here. That tailbone is still tucked under, pushing to the back of the room. Shoulder blades drawn together. We're nice and stable and strong, and we're just holding it here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2 3/4, 2 1/2, 2 1/4, 2, and 1. Come back very gently. Roll your wrists in one direction, roll the wrists in the other. I know I've been really tough on the wrists today, so I apologize. So nice and steady. This time I want you to take your block or your hardback book, whichever one it is you're using, and I want you to just sit on that. I'm going to do this from a side angle. Now we're doing an exercise here with the weights, with my beans. But if you're not using it, you can do it without. You could use a band if you so wished. You could use water bottles. Remember, everything we do, you can do without. So, we sit on the block. We want the bones of our bottom at the edge of our block. I'm going to have my knees bent, feet flat to the floor, and I'm sitting nice and tall. I'm going to take my dumbbells, but remember again, you don't have to have them. And I've got that tuck, elevators in place, abdominal connection. I take my arms up, I'm bringing them together, and I'm just going to bend them down and up. So it's a French press, down and up. And I'm inhaling and I'm exhaling. And this is working my triceps. Ooh. So my bingo wings. Make sure you don't drop your dumbbells or cans or water bottles. So nice and steady, looking forward and breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. 2 more. And again. Last time. Bring it down, relax, okay. Nice and steady. We're going to come over onto our side. So remember, when we're doing the side leg series, if you've got any shoulder issues, we want to have our cushion and block or our cushion, and we lay our head on there. If we don't have those issues, we can lay with the arm long and rest the head like so. Just make sure your head's not dropping. If your head is dropping, if your cushion feels too big, just roll up a towel and place that in between so you know that your head, what you want is you don't want the drop, you want your head and spine to be in a nice neutral position. So, just moving those off my mat. I'm going to come down onto my side. And I've got my arms extended in front. But like I say, you could have that arm long if you wish. Now, first thing to do once we're in position is make sure the shoulders, the hips, the knees, the ankles are all stacked on top of one another without dropping forward or dropping back. So I think you can see, if I just lay naturally, you can see I'm slightly rolled forward, so I need to adjust. I need to pull back the hip, I need to pull back my shoulder. I want them to be directly above one another but be stable. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. One hand can be on the floor, fingers spread out. That is going to give you extra help with your stability. It can be on the hip, can be on the side, or you can have an extra lever and have it up top. It's really up to you. I'm going to have it on the side because I know I can feel myself dropping forward, so I want to make sure I don't do that. So feet are together. Imagine this top leg is as if someone's trying to pull it away, okay? They're trying to lengthen that leg, so it's almost like that top leg is becoming longer than the bottom leg. And we could just slip, say, a piece of tracing paper, really thin sliver of tracing paper just underneath here. Excuse me. So now we've got that. Bring both feet together. Let us nice and gently lift both legs up and down. Inhale, exhale. Now as they come up, both legs come up, and as they come down, the feet don't touch the floor. So the calf's going to touch the floor, the side of the leg's going to touch the floor, but nothing more. So nice and steady, just for 8 and 7 and 6 and 5, 4 and 3, 2, hold at the top, hold it here, nice and steady, core engaged, nice and strong, remember that lift, and then let's slice both legs through the air, so backwards and forwards through that midline of the body as it goes. Gosh, it's super noisy outside today, I do apologise. Can't really go and tell them to not cut their hedge if that's what's happening. I don't know what's happening out there, to be honest. Nice and steady. The really loud one sounds like maybe they're cutting the grass for hedges, I'm not sure. So nice and steady, just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull it back, both legs are floating. Gently bring it down, bend both knees in and have a little rub. We're going to roll over onto our fronts. Now I'm just going to change direction so my head's at the other end of the mat, but you just stay where you are and roll onto your front. I just want it so that I can look towards the camera. So again, you can use your block or cushion if you wish. We're just laying on our front. So, ooh. You can either just let your forehead rest on the cushion, arms by the side, or if you don't want to use the cushion, just have your hands resting on top of one another, nice and steady. So, feet are hip distance apart. I'm just turning my head to a side so you can hear me clearly. So otherwise your forehead's down on the back of your hands on the cushion. But our feet are hip distance apart. Both my hips are facing forward. My pelvic floor is engaged. So remember that elevator is in place, first, second, third floor, all lifted and connected. My abdominal connection's in place. All I'm going to do is I'm going to point my toes in this position. And then I'm going to bend both knees and I'm going to bring my legs up to 90 degrees. I'm then going to flex my feet, then I'm going to point them, and then I'm going to take them back down. So we point them at the bottom, we come up, we flex, we point, and down. So up, flex, point, and down. Up, flex, point, and down. So they're pointing when they're down. When they come up, they're pointing. We then flex, we then point, we take them down. So up, flex, point, down. 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 3 more. Up, flex, point, down. Last 2. Up, flex, point, down. Last one. Up, flex, point, and down. Relax. Give the bum a little shake, little jelly wobble, side to side, or maybe that's just my bum that does a nice jelly wobble, especially with all the cakes I've eaten recently. So nice and steady. Let's do our next exercise. I'm going to move my cushion out the way. So we are going swimming, okay? And we're doing breaststroke. So hands either side of the tummy, either side of the shoulders. Just going to move it out of my mat a little bit. And all we're going to do, eyes and nose are looking down, feet are hip distance apart and looking, and shoelaces down to the floor. You're going to slide your arms out in front. And as you do that, your head and chest is naturally going to lift. Just make sure your eyes are looking down. They don't want to be looking under and dropping the neck or looking out in front. We don't want that. They're just looking down. We then draw it back round like a breaststroke and bring the head down. So we come up and down. Breathing in, breathing out. So fluid movement, controlled. We're just doing 8 more of these. Sorry, I just had a little chuckle with myself because I just thought, Gemma, that was absolutely terrible. I lifted my chest as I moved. Last one. And relax. Okay, bring the head down. Let it just turn to one side and let it just relax there for a moment. And then very gently let the head rotate to the other side and let it relax there for a moment. Very gently. Now we come back and we're coming over onto our side leg series again, opposite side this time. So I'm just going to stay where I am. Remember, you can either have the arm long and the head resting like so. Just remember, make sure the head's not sort of dropping down. Or if we've got any shoulder issues, block and cushion, or just the cushion, really depends on how big your cushion is or your hardback book or block. And then come onto your side. We're laying on our side. Again, we want our shoulders stacked above one another, knees on top of one another. We can bring our hand onto the hip. We can have the fingers spread out, resting on the floor, by the side, up above, okay? Really be conscious you're not rocking forward, you're not rocking back. I always find on these side leg postures you're more likely to rock forward, but it's individual, okay? So take your focus to the end of that leg. Imagine someone is pulling it away, so that leg is longer than the bottom, giving you that little hollowing underneath. One hand in front if you so wish, or wherever you feel is right for you. And then let's lift both legs up and down. So let's inhale, exhale. And as we're doing that movement, ensuring that you're nice and steady, controlled, breathing with control. So inhaling, exhale, keeping stable, keeping solid. So 4 more. And remember, it's just the side of the calf comes down, so the feet aren't actually touching back on the floor. Last one, and hold it here. Now, can we slice our legs through the air? So we're slicing them through the air. Controlled engagement in that core, pelvic floor, flying through the midline of the body. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Bring them both down. Bend the knees in. Give them a pat, give them a rub. We're going to roll onto our back and do our imprints. So again, I'm just going to take my head to the other end, so I'm talking towards you rather than away from you. So you can just roll where you are onto your back. Now remember, with imprints, you can have a cushion underneath your head, but when we come to the bridge, really important that you have no cushion underneath the head, unless you know you've got that overextension. Then obviously you can use, and we would have let you know in class if you've got that, so you would probably know. So coming onto your side, come down, hands by the side of the bottom, eyes looking up to the ceiling. Again, if you're looking behind you, nod your chin. If you're looking in front, lift the chin, hands by the side, tailbone. What we're going to do, sorry, brain dead. Okay, pelvic floor engaged, abdominal belt. You're going to lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling, then imprint your lower back, imprint mid back, imprint upper back. Then very gently let it rock forward, exaggerating the curve a little bit maybe if you wish, and then bringing it back. So when we imprint, the whole of the spine is connected to the mat. There is no space there. When we release the upper, the mid and the lower, we get a little bit of space underneath. And again, so we're just going backwards and forwards. And again, just as we do when we do that pelvic rock at the beginning, when we do that tucks, it's all about just releasing into the lower back, into the lumbar spine. And the lumbar spine, the base of the spine, this is where we take like our lumbar spine, our sacral area. It's where we take our biggest loads. It's where we can take our impacts and so forth. So it's really nice to do this movement, even though it's quite gentle on it. It's just a nice opening and release for that space. So 2 more. And last one. Now very gently, hands can either be across the chest. We're going to do some basic crunches. Or if you wish, you can take your dumbbells. It's up to you. Take them up above. Take them behind you. Now what we want, if we're doing a basic crunch, if you've got your arms long like so, and you may have them long, so I'm just going to take those dumbbells out a second, you may have them long behind you. Once you're in position, so either across the chest, or you can even have them by the temples, or if you've got that leverage, what I want you to be conscious of is when you bring your arms up to where they need to be, so it's like your gauge, you've got to find where that is. What you need to be conscious of is, are the ribs beginning to lift? So I can feel there that my ribs are lifting and my lower back's lifting, so that's too big. So I need to bring it back. Bring it here, yeah, that's fine. I've still got that connection going on in my lower back and my ribs are not splaying upwards. So take your arms back, find where you have got the right point. If they go all the way back, the likelihood is you're going to get a lift in your lower back and the ribs are going to splay up. So it's finding that point. So you can use your weights if you so wish. All we're going to do is come up, look down the body and bring it back. Now remember, if you've got a neck issue and you don't want to do this, then I want you to go back to the imprints for me. So we're just coming up, breathing out and in. Breathing out. And you can bring those arms over, let them tap the thighs and then come back. So breathing out. Nice and steady. And what we're looking for as we're coming up, or should I say what we're not looking for, what we do not want to see, so keep going, is the tummy beginning to dome. So the tummy beginning to bulge up. We don't want to see that. That is when we're going too high, our range is too big. So when we're going through that movement, all we want is the head to be lifting, the top of the shoulders, the very top of the shoulder blades to be lifted up and down, nothing more. Breathing out. Well, let's have two more. And this nicely takes us into our hundreds. So bring it down, bring your hands down by your sides. Now again, if you've got neck issues with the 100, rather than lifting the head and looking down the body and having the arms bouncing, you can just bounce the arms. That's absolutely fine, okay? If you want to make your 100 more challenging today, you can lift one leg and bring it to 90 degree. When you get to 50, change over, opposite leg comes up, okay? So nice and steady, so I'll do it with one leg up. I'm gonna take a deep breath in, exhale, come up, holding position, core nice and strong, and I'm gonna bounce. And remember, if I'm finding this too much with the neck, I can take one hand behind, place the hand to the base of the cervical spine, and it's there as a support. It's not there to hold my head or my neck, it's there as a support. So nice and steady. If that's too much for my neck, I just have the arms moving, okay? So I'm assuming you're counting. I think I'm up to 25. So nice and steady, breathing in and out. So change legs. Remembering, if you need to, you can put one hand behind to offer that support. It's not holding, it's just there to give that little bit of extra support, okay? Pelvic floor, abdominal belt engaged. And when you're done, head comes down, feet together, knees together, gently sway side to side. So we just want that 5 past 2 and that 5 to 2. Just nice and steady, swaying side to side. And very gently walk your feet back to hip distance apart. Remember, if you're not sure how to walk that distance, knees and feet together, turn them out like a penguin, heels turn out. So hands by the side, ready for pelvic bridge. What we're going to do is we're going to take it up into pelvic bridge. We're going to hold it for 4 and then bring it down, okay? So really fluid, sequential movement. Remember, if pelvic bridge feels too much, we can always do imprints, okay? So nice and steady, imprint the lower back, lifting the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Begin to lift from the lower back, mid back, upper back. Very gently bring it down at the top, the middle, the lower. Oh, we didn't do our hold, did we? So let's take it up. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it down, nice and steady, controlled. And again. Lift and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Being conscious of where your eye line is. So counting for 4. Remember, if you're counting yourself, it's like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Let's have 2 more of these, nice and steady. And last one. This time, let's take it up. Let's hold it for longer than 4 seconds. Let's have an 8 seconds. So let's have 1 elephant, 2 elephants, 3 elephants, 4 elephants, 5 elephants, 6 elephants, 7 elephants, 8 elephants, and down we come. Draw the knees into the chest. Take your hands on your knees and just gently sway side to side. Just enjoying a nice little release into the lower back. Now let us stretch our hamstrings. So remember, if you do not have a band or a strap, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to use my strap today. If you've got a pair of tights, actually, a pair of tights will do the job just nicely. So we're going to straighten that leg, and remember, we're aiming to have it away from the body. We want the leg straight, so we don't want the knee bending, because then that's going to take the stretch out of the hamstring. Now, if you've got really tight hamstrings, you might have a slight bend. You might not be able to straighten that out. That's okay. Take it away as far as you can. You never know, you might be able to get a little bit of straightness in there. So, supporting leg can either be bent or you can have that extension. I'm going to keep mine bent because I find it's more comfortable for my lower back. So one hand by the side and we're holding it here. Remember, we could be holding the leggings or we could be placing the hands on the back of the thigh. So nice and steady. I'm going to hold it with both hands. Let us take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, be drawing that leg a little bit further and just holding. Taking a deep breath. As you exhale. And again. Holding it there. Nice and steady. Bend that knee into the chest. Gently bring it down. Change legs. Hamstring stretch. Ooh. Hold it there. And again, remembering you can straighten out that supporting leg if you wish, or keep it bent. Having it bent takes pressure off the lower back. Straightening, you may need to take it further away from the body. Hold it there. Taking nice long deep breaths. As you exhale, drawing it that little bit closer and holding. And again, take a deep breath. As you exhale, closer and holding. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, bend that knee in, pop it to the side. One more stretch. Let the soles of the feet come together. Just move away slightly from the wall and just let the hips open up. So inner thigh stretch. Remember, we can always just rub the inner thigh, bring some warmth. You may want to gently press down. You may want to just let your hands relax by the side. Any of those options are absolutely fine. And just hold it there. So we're pretty much there. We're just going to roll over and do one more thing. So well done. Nice and steady. Let us take a deep breath. As you exhale, gently bring the knees together, feet together. Roll onto your side, rolling onto our front. So you could be where you are. I'm going to roll to the other side. Just because I want to be able to speak to the camera. So all we're doing, laying on our front, hands by the side. I want you to have your chest just lifted and have your eyes looking down to the floor, okay? So straight down, not in front, not down behind. So if you're looking in front, you can feel the back of the head coming towards the top of the shoulders. If you're looking underneath, you're going to feel the neck tension in the lower part of the neck. So we're just looking down below. All I want you to do is take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, lift the arms up a little bit. Shoulder blades back and down, just hold it there for a moment. Now we're just going to do this 5 times and then bring it down. So we inhale, we lift up. We exhale. 4 more. Last 2. Last one. And relax, bring your hands down. Last time, let the head just relax to one side. Let's rotate to the other side and just relax there for a moment. And then bring it back to the centre. I'd like you to roll onto your side, bring one hand, roll onto your side, gently push up onto your side, and then very gently we're going to come over onto our knees, and we're just going to raise our heart rate a little bit. We've been on the floor for a little while, so let us just very gently swing those arms, nice and steady. And then relax. Which is our weaker leg? Left, right, right, left, right, left. Whichever one's your weaker leg, lead that out in front. Shoelaces to the floor makes it more challenging. Toes tucked under makes it easier. Okay, so I'm going to go for the toes tucked under, hands by the side, take a deep breath. Exhale, lift. And bring it down. Shoulder blades back and down. Sassy walk it out for me. So let's just have a sassy walk, swinging it out. And relax. Shoulder blades back and down. Give it a little shake. Elevator in place, abdominal connection, beefy tomato. And you are strong as chips. I'm ready for the rest of the week. Well done, strong as chips. I don't believe I've ever used that statement in my entire life. I apologise. Okay, well done. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Keep safe, keep sane. Ciao for now.